Hello everyone and welcome to a special Halloween edition of Sportsballin. I am Maxwell Jacob Friedman, Dylan Simmons, joined by my co-host Evan Snyder and Ryan Martinelich. Let's see how spooky things got in Tennessee pro sports. The Titans moved to 5-2 after defeating the Houston Texans 17-10. Tennessee won this game without Ryan Tannehill, as it was Malik Willis making his first career start, although he did not do much. Derrick Henry was as monstrous as the Thing by rushing for 219 yards and becoming the all-time rushing touchdown leader for Tennessee. What statement does this win make about the Titans, guys?
They're probably going to win the division by default. That ground game is just too good. Yeah, they still haven't really exercised the demons in the passing game yet, but overall, all they got to do is just give the ball to Derrick Henry and just watch that defense light up the opposing team's offense.
Yeah, definitely going to say that passing game was totally amazing. It was abysmal. Sure, Malik Willis' first start in the NFL, but he only completed 6 of his 10 passes, threw for 55 yards, and did throw a pick. But, you got King Henry carrying, rushed for 219 yards, 32 total carries. Definitely was a workhorse in this game, and he did rush for 2 touchdowns. And like you said, Dylan, he is the new Titans rushing touchdown leader, which is always a bonus. And the defense just stepped up huge for the Titans here. If they don't step up the way they did, I think they leave Houston with a loss.
100% agree with that. And I'm going to start off nice here because Derrick Henry is that guy. He is that man. He ran, and it was a nightmare on the level of Vanderbilt football to deal with for the Houston Texans. The man had 219 rushing yards, guys. And, I mean, like you've mentioned before, he basically just ran the wishbone offense to success. And this is his, another game with 200 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. That was his 6th. That's the most of any running back since the merger, and he's already done it in his career. But, guys, the offense is really struggling right now. I mean, you're talking about an offense that's completed 6 passes with Malik Willis. He had an interception. I think they would have been just as fine if he wasn't there at all. He was basically invisible on the football field and really didn't have an impact. And the Titans, again, I'm not trusting them because they keep beating up on tough or easy opponents, not tough opponents at all. I mean, Houston Texans, guys, they're 1-5-1. We know how big of a train wreck they are. You've got Davis Mills as a starting quarterback. They scored 10 points. 10 points. You're telling me that the Titans could get to 10 points? Of course they can. I think we could get to 10 points if we tried hard enough. It's really not that big of a victory, at least in my eyes. I do like the Titans and their strategy and their defense, but they still got a long way to go.
Well, yeah, you mentioned, though, that the Texans only scored 10 points, but you're talking about a defense that sacked Mills 3 times and picked them off as well. So, once again, they're getting it done on the defense. They're not having to rely too heavily on that passing game. And, yeah, sure, Willis only passed 10 times, but they ran the ball, 45?
They did.
So, they're relying so heavily on that ground game, they don't need to rely on that pass game. So, you don't have to worry about it, especially when that defense is lighting everyone up.
Yeah, definitely the defense, too. They also had 8 tackles for loss as well. I mean, that's a decent amount in the NFL, and that defensive line, you had the linebackers working, the secondary is looking really good for the Titans. But again, they played against the Texans, and the defense has played very, very well against stronger opponents. But you got to think when we get closer to the end of the season, get closer more to the playoff time, you got to think, how does the Titans defense kind of stay in that shape? And you got to think at some point, too, the offense has to help.
I agree, but I'm going to say this. I don't think they're going to get anywhere near a championship like this one right here. But we'll see. Time will tell on that one. Music City has turned into Gotham City as the Predators suffered a fear-inducing loss to the Washington Capitals on Saturday. The Preds were shut out 3-0 and watched Ovi absolutely shred the defense. With the Preds now standing at 3-5-1, is it time to hit the panic button, fellas?
I don't know yet. I mean, once again, it's still early in the season, so there's plenty of time to rebound. You're certainly looking at a team that, after losing 5 games, lit up St. Louis, put up 6 goals, and then just laid a goose egg against the Capitals. Not only Ovechkin getting it done on the offensive side, but everyone else was just pushing the Preds around. So it was just an awful look overall for that ice skating team. Essentially, that's what it was, an ice skating team. They're just ice-capades, if you will, at this point. So I don't know where to stand. It's very early in the season, but it's certainly very close, finger right over that button.
Yeah, definitely still early in the season. But sometimes, being a Preds fan is punishment for shoplifting in certain countries. They're definitely not, they're very hit or miss at the moment. They put up 6, like Ryan just said, they put up 6 goals against the Blues, back to Nashville, played the Capitals, dropped the goose egg. But there was some good takeaways, though, however. 34 shots on goal, so the offense did have some production there. They just had a lot of missed opportunities, like you just saw Forsberg mention, a rebounder of his own right there. This offense, they had a bunch of missed opportunities. The power play unit looked very weak. They had multiple chances on power play to score. And the defense, they were strong. UC Saros had a bunch of really good saves to start out the game. And then it all kind of went downhill in the second period when the fourth line of the Capitals, which normally those guys only average maybe 6 minutes a game, not even, scored a goal. And that is just a steady decline from there where the defense just wasn't doing their job. Offense was definitely missing a lot more opportunities, not getting a lot more shots on goal. But you also kind of have to tip the hat to the Capitals goaltender. He played an amazing game, had a 1,000% save percentage, which that's really hard to do in the NHL sometimes. So kind of have to tip his hat to him.
Right you are, and I got to say this. The Preds right now look like they're in the music video Thriller, like Michael Jackson's nearby, because they are the undead right now. They can't seem to make a lot of momentum up at the moment. Preds, this ain't it, Chief. Nashville has just not looked like that team that we have come to expect overall. They haven't been able to perform. Matt Duchene did not have a single shot in this game. Neither did Nino Niederreiter. These are the guys who you're leaning on to be the big performers. They didn't do much. I mean, Yossi, excuse me, or Saros, actually, yes. I can't even speak. They're getting me all out of sorts. But he didn't save a lot of goals. But at the end of the day, I can't blame him because that defense was just so fast on him. It was really a tough deal all night for the Preds. Again, John Hines, same issues I talked about earlier. It's a mess right now. Hopefully they can get this fixed. We will see surely soon enough. Hopefully the Preds can get things back in the right direction before the boogeyman comes to Bridgestone. When we come back, we will have the latest on the hunt of the 2022 Memphis Grizzlies. Stick around on Sportsballin.
To pose, now shush. She makes the sound she makes to calm me down. She makes the sound she makes needy. She makes the sound she makes needy. Baby, don't see.
I'm here. Can you see me? 'Cause I feel like I'm invisible. Like this whole place is invisible. If it weren't for the nightly news, no one would even think of this place. But down here, things look different. Down here, our spirits are bright and our dreams are vivid. And if given a chance, that's what the world would see.
In the past 50 years, we've made a lot of progress in smoking prevention. But if we don't do more, 1 out of every 13 children alive today will die early from smoking. That's 5.6 million precious lives we can save. Together, we can make the next generation tobacco-free.
Welcome back. Memphis took on the Sacramento Kings last Thursday and reinforced the Kings' position as the worst team in basketball by winning 125-110. John Morant had a solid night, but it was Desmond Bane who rose above the ashes to 31 points in a dominant performance. What did you guys think of this one?
You know, I have to say the big man out of TCU, Texas Christian, that horned frog, getting it done. Certainly lighting up the offensive side of things for these Grizzlies, needing that extra kick in the rear end. Especially, you're still giving up 110 points to the Kings. All right, so you know, at least being able to score 120 or more is great, but you're still giving up 110 for, like you said, one of the worst basketball teams in the NBA, especially over like the last 10 years. So still got to work on that defensive side, especially what we saw against the Jazz, but overall, still a great performance, especially from Bane.
I'm going to say is we're not worthy
Not
of
worthy.
John
We're not.
Morant and Desmond Bain. Like 31 points from Desmond Bain, 22 from Ja. Both of them really popped off. But again, 100 plus points against the Kings. Honestly, I forgot that the Kings existed until literally a couple nights ago. But that's whatever. Sacramento, not the greatest place for a franchise, but that's my 2
you hear
cents
that,
about
Sacramento calling you out.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, you got to look at it though. The Grizzlies did play a very good game. The whole team kind of pulled their weight. Like I said, John Morant dropped big numbers. Desmond Bain dropped big numbers. Brooks also dropped some decent numbers as well. Rebounding side, Steven Adams basically almost single-handedly demolished the Kings in that department. Had 11 total rebounds. 7 of those were offensive. So he definitely was cleaning up the glass big time in this win.
Good point you make there. And I got to say, the Kings merely adopted the dark. Desmond Bain was born in it. He knows how to get things done. He had a sensational night in Sacramento, guys. He put up over 30 points, made a legit run. And I think this shows that the Grizzlies have the opportunity to make a run at the championship if Bain can be that legit number 2. I think we know he's got the talent. This is a game where he demonstrated that. It shows that you don't need Ja every night to come off, because there's going to be nights where Ja can't get 30. You're going to need that secondary option. If guys like Desmond Bain, like Dillon Brooks can step up and play well, then you're going to have a much better chance of winning. I think the Grizzlies proved all that and more and really showed that when push comes to shove, they're a team that can make a run with the right players doing the right things.
Couldn't agree with you more there, Dylan. Once again, it's going to require a big team effort here, especially with a smaller market team like the Grizzlies, and they could absolutely make a run for it. But you still got a lot of teams out there in the West that are going to just give you some trouble, especially like the Clippers, the Suns, the Warriors.
Right. Yeah, definitely. The Grizzlies do have what it takes, but like you just said, Dylan, and we've talked about it during the preseason too. This team has to come together. Everybody has to be firing on all cylinders. You can't rely on Ja every single night, even though it's nice to. He makes some highlight plays, makes some flashy plays. You just can't depend on him every single night. So
Right,
you
you
have
are.
to really pull their weight.
Yeah, I completely agree on that one. And, going back to that, the same could not be said on Saturday because the Jazz had the Memphis Grizzlies singing the blues like W.C. Handy as they lost 124 to 123. Memphis had to do it without Ja Morant, and it showed as they could not keep up scoring-wise despite a 32-point performance from Desmond Bain. Ryan, how much of a factor do you think that no Morant played on this one?
Well, considering they kept it real close against the Jazz, just shows you that they had that opportunity with or without Morant to score against high-caliber teams. Defensively, it just kind of stopped them. Morant's great offensively. He's kind of at times timid defensively. It seems he's really just waiting to get the ball offensively. So having him as a defender doesn't really matter. As a scoring option, Dillon Brooks was there with the 30 points as well. So I think Morant is so right now with being out with sickness.
Good point.
So.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think if they did have Ja this game, they definitely win this game over the Jazz. But again, it kind of just shows, though, that this team can pull their weight, that we just talked about, and they can definitely, with a little extra push, with or without Ja, they could definitely take on teams and definitely win games.
Yeah, this is one of those games where you kind of think of a what if here. The Grizzlies had some great play, but again, I feel like Morant would have given them that extra oomph. And it's just going to be one of those things. If Ja's there, I think this team gets to a whole new ceiling. If he's not, then it's going to be a much tougher road for the Grizzlies. But still a lot to be positive about and a lot that we can look at and say, hey, Grizzlies are going to be real contenders. Memphis better hope, though, that they do not go the way to Freddy Krueger and Freddy vs. Jason, if you know what I mean. Get under your blankets and turn on your flashlights, because we are about to unleash our haunted hot takes of the week. Come right back on Sportsballin.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right, because a few hours ago in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign, not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a fourth ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
black truck. Hey, Christina from accounting.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, I used to date a girl named Christina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then she dumped me for my best friend. You want to see some photos of them that I took?
I don't.
I thought we talked about this, buddy.
Buzzed and overshared again?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna call a car.
That's a smart idea.
So yeah, I know, that's why I did it.
Hey, you're gonna get back to the top of the mountain.
Does that mean I'm gonna get back with Christina?
No.
Oh.
No, no.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you scared? You should be, because our haunted hot takes start right now. As Tracy Morgan once said, Ryan, what is your scare tactic?
I'm going to bring up a revival of the dead here, the wishbone offense, and that is
Whoa.
the Titans could win any game with the wishbone offense. I'm
Oh,
sorry,
no.
you don't need a quarterback other than just to hand the ball off in a wishbone offense. That triple option, all right, they have the big man up front to do it. All right, they're injured, but that's great because you rely heavily on speed. You got Derrick Henry, could easily play either the 2, 3, or 4 back in the system. Pollard, of course, back there as well. You throw a tight end, a fullback. I mean, you have a system that could not be stopped, especially since you're running the ball 90% of the time anyway. I tell you, I've been a fan of the triple option ever since I started watching college football with Navy and Army and Air Force, and the wishbone is one of those things that hasn't been talked about, but it's absolutely the start, the origins of the offense, and it could easily be run in today's game in the NFL, especially for the Titans.
See, this is the thing where I think the wishbone offense can go a little wrong, because you got to look at Derrick Henry. He's getting up older in age, and there's a stat out there where once running backs, for some reason, hit the age of 27, they fall off hard. And I mean, fall off hard, they basically like fall off the charts. That's how bad it is when they turn 27. Derrick Henry's getting there. He's 25, 26 right now, so he's getting there. Who knows when he hits 27, he should be a freak and just keep on running the way he does. But I think for this offense to work really effectively, you have to have a good number 2 guy. Hilliard is a good running back, but I really don't think he's a good secondary option in a duo with Derrick Henry to really run this wishbone offense. I mean, I do gotta agree with you though. Tannehill not doing so great. Malik Willis didn't do so great. All you need him to do is hand off the ball and not fumble it.
Ryan, I'm going to be honest, this is a big reach right here. I mean, the wishbone offense is as predictable as what I get every morning for breakfast. By the way, it's a Chick-fil-A chicken biscuit. It's really darn good. It's just so darn predictable. I mean, it makes them as one-dimensional as a Monopoly board. Everyone knows what's going to be coming whenever this happens. All you got to do is stop the run. And I know it's easier said than done when you're talking about Derrick Henry, but at the end of the day, you have to have some sort of unpredictability. And yeah, the Titans don't have a lot of offense right now and a lot of passing, but you still need a little bit of passing. You still need a little bit of a mixture. You're not going to be able to keep up with Buffalo, Philly, Kansas City with this kind of offense. It's just not going to work. All right, Evan, what's your hot take?
All right, my hot take. The World Series is going on right now. I'm a big baseball guy, so Philadelphia Phillies will win the World Series. Right now, the series is tied 1-1 currently. And they're playing against the Houston Astros, I should say. Sorry. And I honestly think the Phillies have what it takes. They have the offense to do it. They have JT Realmuto, who can absolutely hit bombs. Bryce Harper, who, with a torn UCL, with an elbow injury, he's hitting the ball really, really well right now. Reese Hopkins can hit the ball well. Kyle Schwarber as well. You look at this offense, and it is deadly. I would say it's probably more dangerous than the Astros lineup is. The only thing that has to stay solid for the Phillies is their pitching. You got to make sure Noah Syndergaard stays on, Aaron Nola stays on. You got to make sure this starting pitching staff does stay hot and needs to really bring it. Same with the bullpen, because bullpens are everything in the MLB. If you do not have a good bullpen, you're not going to win games, especially in the World Series and postseason as well. And the Phillies have kind of shown that. They're the 6th seed coming into the playoffs. They shocked the Braves. They've shocked the Padres. 2 teams that were supposed to win the World Series this year, and they've done it. And they're also playing in Philly these next 3 games. And everybody knows Philly fans can get a little crazy. We saw what happened with the Eagles when they won the Super Bowl a couple years ago. I think Philly's ready to party, and they're definitely be crazy for these next 3 games coming up.
I'm a Mets fan, and of course my Mets somehow didn't make the playoffs. Thanks entire front office.
First round exit.
Wild card round.
Yeah. Well, they they might as well have not have made the playoffs the way they played down the stretch. I mean, losing to the Padres the way they did, it doesn't matter. So I can't root for the Phillies. I can't really root for the Astros either. So, yeah, let's just go ahead and just break out the celebration. You know, break out the toast.
Wow.
Love it.
Whatever city wins it, the budget is going to have to pay for the cleanup anyway. So just bring out all the champagne you can.
Okay, I'm going to disagree with this one right now. Trust me, I would love to see the Phillies win the World Series. But I can't say that they will because I just don't think they've got the talent. Houston has Yordan Alvarez. They've got Jose Altuve. This guy is an absolute beast. Both these guys are absolute beasts. They're going to keep playing lights out, and I don't think it's going to be enough at the end of the day for the Phillies to be able to keep up. Yes, they've got Bryce Harper, but is it really going to be enough as well with Castellanos, Kyle Schwarber? Can they match up to this Astros bullpen, this Astros lineup? I think the answer is no. They just don't have the same raw talent. We'll see, though, and I hopefully the Phillies do win. But I'm going to move right into my hot take here. All right, guys, before we get started, I want to roll some footage from last year. So, DJ, drop that track. Let's see what we got. All right, so you see the footage coming out here. Packers and the Bills facing off. And I got to say, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go full MJF on this one. The Packers are the worst team in the Aaron Rodgers era. This is the worst Packers team that we've seen. I'm going full MJF. So, here's what we're going to do. I think the Packers are mid. They are absolute mid, absolute trash. Now, I might be a generational talent, but this team can't even find any talent. This wide receiver core might be the worst that it's been in 30 years. They can't do anything right. Romeo Doubs is as bad as John Moxley. Aaron Jones is trying to make something happen, but he can't carry the entire franchise on his back. It's one-dimensional. And these Packers are looking to do something right. But again, Mr. Rodgers, we'll go to him because his contract, he earned more in that contract than I will earn in the bidding war of 2024. And unfortunately, it's caused the whole team to go to wreck. They lost Davante Adams. They have so little talent that they're not going to be able to do anything. This man has an average QBR of 40.4. That is, again, mid. And he's on pace to throw for barely 20 touchdowns this year. Look at the defense. It's a flaming tire fire out there right now. This team is playing awful, and although I might be better than them and they know it's not going to matter at the end of the day. They're going to get knocked out with a dynamite diamond ring. What do you guys have to say to that?
Here's my rebuttal. You got to look at the Packers. Aaron Rodgers, no matter what you say, Dylan, I'm sorry, is an amazing quarterback. He's
gone.
Arguably
he's over the hill. He's done.
One of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and he's, honestly, you look at the team that's around him, he's not set up for success. You look at the draft this year, they drafted a quarterback. The Packers drafted a quarterback. When Aaron Rodgers was begging and pleading for them,
yes,
like, please draft me a wide receiver that I could throw to, that could actually catch touchdowns, and they didn't do it. They draft Jordan Love, who probably won't even touch the field for another about 3 years because Aaron Rodgers, who knows, Aaron Rodgers could leave after this year, and I wouldn't blame him. But if you lose Aaron Rodgers, the Packers are nothing without him, basically.
They're already nothing.
The defense sucks.
They already are terrible.
The Packers' defense does suck. I will give you that.
It's awful.
But you look at just Aaron Rodgers, he's set up for failure, I feel like.
It's certainly the most injured Packers team we've ever seen, especially in the Rodgers era. Worst team. You could also make the argument, but once again, I also have to say this is one of the worst years as far as injuries for the entirety of the NFL, and it certainly hit the Packers hardest. So you got to put the blame somewhere, maybe just the turf monster.
I don't think it's the turf monster. I don't think it's injuries. I think when you just look at this team, they don't have the talent to succeed. It all comes back to Aaron Rodgers' contract and Davante Adams not wanting to stay put.
And also them drafting a quarterback that's Aaron Rodgers' replacement.
I don't think it would matter even if they had drafted a quarterback and, hadn't. It's just not going to work, guys. At the end of the day, this Packers team is worse than 08 when they were 6-10. They don't have the same talent. They don't have any potential. This team is trying to keep open a Super Bowl window that's not there, and it's going to cost them at the end of the day, and that's the biggest issue. They're living in the past, and they're not going to be able to live up to Maxwell Jacob Friedman. Why so serious? There's no need to go anywhere because we have your picks of the week coming up right after the break. Stay tuned.
America, welcome home the brave. The brave men and women who serve their country are coming home. Home to their cities and towns. Home to their mountains and valleys. Home to their families and friends. home to America. Some of these warriors are coming home with wounds you can see, and some with wounds you can't see, like post-traumatic stress disorder. Wounded Warrior Project was created to provide the support these wounded veterans need to ensure their return to America is well-adjusted and successful. But we need your help to ensure that our mission is a success. Help us honor and empower these wounded warriors. Contact us at findwwp.org. America, welcome home the brave.
You can't buy a best friend. You can love them, pet them, care for them, whether they want you to or not. You can take a picture or 50. You can bring them with you wherever you go. You can jump, yell, hide and go seek, play dress up, or not. Go for a walk, or not. You can fly to the moon, travel the world, or just stay in bed. You can't buy a best friend like that. But you can adopt one. 'Cause we're connected. We're connected.
From Iraq and Afghanistan, our brave warriors are coming home, wounded. Some with wounds you can see, some with wounds you can't see. Wounded Warrior Project was created to support our men and women coming off the battlefield. Please help carry these warriors the rest of the way home. Get involved at Wounded Warrior Project.
Welcome back to Sportsballin. It is time for our picks of the week. First up, we've got the Preds versus Oilers Tuesday at 8. Guys?
This Preds offense has just been so inconsistent and at times anemic. Regardless of what you guys think of the Oilers, I'm just going to have to take the Oilers.
Yeah, if the Preds win, I think monkeys will fly out of my butt, so
Yeah.
I'm on Oilers.
Wow, I mean, you guys have very little faith in the Preds, but to be honest, neither do I. I don't think the Preds have what it takes. Edmonton, Leon Draisaitl, Connor McDavid, too much for them to handle. Give me the Preds. Next up, we've got Grizzlies versus Blazers Wednesday at 9. Guys?
Same thing. Just go ahead and just give me the Blazers. I just can't pick the Grizz. They've just been too inconsistent defensively. I mean, they pretty much have to put up 130 points at this point.
I'm going to go with the Grizzlies on this one. Sure, the Blazers are pretty solid, but, you know, John Morant, Desmond Bane, all those guys, I think they pull it out.
This is a big one, especially when it comes to Western Conference title implications, #1 seed. Grizzlies are looking a little bit, having some issues right now, but guys, I think they're going to really bounce back. Look for Ja, if he is back, to have a big impact. Give me the Grizzlies. I think he'll take this one. And our last game, Titans versus Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. Guys, what do you think?
If the wishbone offense is run, Titans. If not, Chiefs.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Chiefs. It's like when I broke up with Stacy, she couldn't handle it, but, you know, I can handle the Titans losing.
Kansas City, here we come. Chiefs easily. We're glad that we did not scare you away. If you liked what you saw, tune in to Blue Raider Television every Tuesday to get the latest on the world of professional sports. Thank you all so much for watching, and remember that Sportsballin' will never die. See you next week.